Now's not the right time to consume anything.
It's so true. That's a good point. Except for this show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
Let's go.
Man, it feels good to be back here, guys. I'll be honest, it felt great not to be back. I really enjoyed my 40-hour break from the Denver Nuggets, more or less. I enjoyed it. Yeah. But as with all things, time heals the heart. You get back up on that saddle, and that's how I feel today. I genuinely feel that way, where I'm like excited to be back and discussing them. Hopefully everybody else is as well. We're in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. I no longer feel like I got ran over by a Tundra.
Are you not driving a Tundra?
Not quite driving it. Not quite driving it. I'm shopping, I would say. I'm shopping right now. I'm like window shopping mostly. Okay. Tomorrow, test driving perhaps. Then on Friday, full-on leasing, baby. To help me out to discuss all things. Today we're going to talk about, there was practice today. Very interesting. You have not heard. I can't wait to tell you about it and get your reactions. We're also going to talk about hangover takes, of which we have many. And then later on in the show, can the Nuggets still win the series? Can they? Is it even possible? Because I know 2 days ago we all felt like there was no hope for anything and any happiness. Maybe time has healed our wounds. D-Line Co's here.
That's right, guys. Thank you to the Colorado Avalanche for replenishing my well.
For real,
down 3-0.
For taking the empty well of serotonin that existed in my brain and refueling it. I feel great.
Hold on. Down 3-0?
A 3-0 deficit in the first period. That's like the Nuggets being down 30.
It really is.
It's like game 2.
Listen, man.
They battled
Anything
back.
is possible.
The man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
Maybe a good sign of things to come. We were leaving practice today. What did we see in the sky, Adam?
Man, this is a true story. This is a true
100%
story.
true.
Well, first of all, we didn't see anything. We heard something.
We heard it.
First of all,
then
Kale,
we
play
saw
the sound.
it.
Play the Red Hawk sound.
We heard
that exact sound.
And then we saw
Bald eagle right overhead.
Whoa.
A red-tailed hawk making this call, alerting us to the fact that there was a bald eagle directly overhead.
Woo. What do you think of that, D-Line?
As far as omens go, that doesn't seem like it's one.
I've always said a bald eagle is a sign of good luck for me personally.
Sure.
I've always said that.
Well, listen, I mean, it makes it feel like you'll find a quarter.
And on top of that, we weren't looking for it. Usually I'm always looking. I wasn't even looking at this time. The hawk alerted us to it. It was unbelievable.
We wouldn't have even seen it if it wasn't for the hawk.
Do you think that you were in
us.
danger?
I tell people all the time I'm in touch with nature. I really believe that. That was two spiritual creatures.
You tell people all the time.
I tell people all the time. They might as well have been like, Adam. It's kind of like that sounded like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, dude. Okay.
I was like, all
listen,
right,
I'm
all
in.
right.
Fine, whatever.
We're looking
Love it.
We're reaching, dude. We're reaching. Anything we can latch on
Hey,
to.
man, anything bigger than us is something I'm looking towards.
Segment 2 will be on the practice notes. Usually we begin with that, but I think it would be more productive, honestly, today to start with hangover takes. So let's go to the hangover here, Kale. Hangover takes. It's been 2 days. It's a long hangover. I'm not going to lie.
Not when you're in your 40s. Pretty standard.
That is a pretty standard hangover. Not quite the hangover I had in literal Las Vegas last year. That was a 4-day affair. 4-day hangover. Hangover takes, D-Line, now that you've slept on it. I assume you've slept. I don't know.
I have slept. I don't know if I've slept on it. I, as you alluded to, have been avoiding the thought of the Denver Nuggets, the thought of this series.
Yeah.
I've sort of allowed it to
I haven't
drain.
listened to any podcasts.
I'm not listening to anything.
I
I'm
can't.
not seeking out anything. I mean, there's nothing good that can be given to us at this moment, because if you're basing it off of the last showing that the Denver Nuggets gave us, there's no hope. There's nothing good. The Nuggets fell apart. They had total system failures, we mentioned. There's nothing to take from that last outing that the Denver Nuggets showed us. So I took a step back, and I'm just allowing the power, the aura, the entire vibe of the Denver Nuggets to guide me and to be back in touch with what I know to be true about this team. So my hangover take is like that I still believe in this team. This team's given me no reason to not, or to jump ship, to not believe. It's not looking great, but it's not looked great at other times. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I'm also saying they're not going to win. Until this team's last dying breath has been taken, I am still fully in on the Denver Nuggets because I believe very deeply in their construction, their character, their players, their culture, and of course Nikola Jokic, even though he seems in some ways disinterested, but in other ways triple teamed. So I don't really know. I don't know where that falls. In my view, at this point, we're literally at a point in the series that we found ourselves in before, which is we are now into the coaching portion of the series where adjustments need to be made, that the Nuggets just default way of attacking a team has shown to be ineffective based on what the Wolves have given them and the way that the Wolves are guarding them and the way the Wolves are specifically looking to take out Jokic and Murray, knowing that those are the two guys, obviously, for the Denver Nuggets. And they've, with their length, with their tenacity, with their scheme, have been able to really neutralize those two guys. And now it's on Malone. Malone's got to figure out how to scheme away from that because he needs to find ways to free up Jokic. He needs to find ways, in my opinion, to get away from Murray, not be so Murray dependent unless the moment is big, in which case that's when you count on Jamal Murray. But to get the other
Should
guys.
They rest him? Who was it that we were saying you rest him for just the second half? Should you rest him for just the fourth quarter?
Yes.
Don't play him
just
until
bring
the
him
fourth.
in until you need a big
Just
shot.
the final shot.
Final shot. Bring him in for the final shot. But until then, we got to get Mike going. We got to get AG going. We got to get KCP going. We got to just find other routes. And through Jokic, all things are possible. So that's
I mean, to what you started with, to the earlier point, my column after this game that I put on the DNVR.com, I titled it, "These Nuggets Can't Go Out Like This."
Right.
That game too, that's the type of thing that we thought doesn't happen to the Nuggets.
Yep.
That happens to the Suns. That happens to the Clippers.
Because that's their character, and they've revealed that to us before.
Yeah. The Nuggets don't give up like they did in Game 2. We're not supposed to see that from Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. That's not who this team is. That's not who they've been, throughout this era, and I didn't think that's who they are now. So I think what we'll find out about this team in Games 3 and 4 is, are they that team? Are they just going to give up, or are they going to continue to fight like we think they will?
Right.
Everything we've seen in the Jokic era says this is a team that has resiliency, that's come back from 2-3-1 deficits before. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and I'm actually a little bit looking forward to learning, is this that team or not?
I think both you guys have, we all kind of have a similar thought here, which is so big. And I want to just start by saying this. You're right. Nuggets fans not in the biggest mood, although hopefully, like me, 2 days, it's all right, things have dulled. Let's get back into it. But Wolves fans are very out. And so I just want to say this, even though I'm not trying to speak to that audience. The Timberwolves deserve credit first, and the Nuggets blame second. The Timberwolves have done a phenomenal job. Their team has
They've been incredible.
They have the magic. The Nuggets last year had the magic. They were a great team all year. I think they were the best team all year, but it wasn't until the playoffs that they really caught the magic and it snowballed, and they just had this momentum that carried them all the way through. Perhaps the same thing is happening to Minnesota, although later in the show, a couple teams seem to have the magic right now, which is kind of cool. But the Timberwolves
ironically not the magic.
Ironically not the magic. But they do. They deserve credit because when we're saying that Denver's quitting, well, somebody has to make you quit.
Sure.
And that team was so overwhelming to Denver in games 1 and 2 that Denver went to this place. But nonetheless, here's the thing: the book is not written on Denver 2024 just yet. It's not written. But at this very moment, there is a new piece that cannot be. There is a stain on them that cannot be washed out, and that is, to your point, the quit that was in them in that game. As good as the Wolves were, they were not 30 points at halftime better than Denver without Rudy Gobert. To get that, you have to also have a meltdown, which is what happened to Denver, which happened to Jamal Murray, to Nikola Jokic, and
Michael Malone even.
And Aaron Gordon we can throw in there, KCP.
Sure.
Everybody has kind of been put into a spot where they didn't have answers, and their response was worse than just not having answers. So that's part of it. But here's the thing: you can redeem yourself. At this very moment, that's not who you are it is a thing that you did. It's not who you are. But if you do it again, and if you go out in the season by doing that, it is who you are.
Yep.
Then it is definitive. And I think what you're saying, Eric, is you don't think that's who this team is. It's just who they were in that moment.
I mean, it's, if you want to talk about the history and the full makeup of this team, it's over the past 2 years. Obviously, every season is its own team, and there are pieces, and the team is made up of players. So when the players are different, the team is different. But the core is the team that we've seen building, growing, fighting, clawing, step by step by step, not skipping steps to this point. And it just seems just unthinkable that this would be the culmination of that.
The other thing I think as I process this series so far, and in particular Game 2, is there are flaws for this team and for Jokic, our guy. There are flaws that this series is bringing out in him, and they're not flaws he can't overcome. Jokic's career has unfolded in such a weird way. From going from a nobody, even though he was great, and we're like watching it going, I think this guy's an all-star caliber player. And it was years before that even became a conversation. Then losing Murray and in his prime and having to go 2 years of purgatory, like it's been such a weird one. And oftentimes you face an adversity that reveals certain traits to you along the way. Denver wins a title last year. They've overcome a lot of things to get that title, and that will never go away. But this year is revealing something, and I think the number one thing is probably leadership in this exact moment, and leadership of a very specific type. I think, I don't want to make this all seem so reductive that it's simple. There's a lot of things going on with the Nuggets that are wrong right now, and it's not any one guy. But one of the problems clearly is Jamal Murray's health and his ability to play around his health.
Yep.
Like it would be one thing if he's banged up, but he's contributing in this way or that way. But it's that other part. And I think that Jokic being the team's best player, there is an absence in him of his ability or willingness or both to say, this is what we need to do. You need to stop doing this.
Right.
You need to take accountability for the things that you have screwed up and maybe the distraction that you've made or this or that. And just a leadership to say, I will take on now the responsibility, but you got to play this way through me. He doesn't seem to have that. I think he has an opinion on it. He certainly seems like a guy that has a take. But this series to me, like, the playoffs should reveal something that you haven't done before that you must do to win. I just have the romantic in me believes that has to happen.
Yeah.
For the Nuggets this year, that's what it is. It's not basketball. I do think there's a level of Jokic having to do an uncomfortable thing, which probably involves Jamal Murray at some capacity saying, 7 games in, you can't beat anyone off the dribble. Quit taking 18 shots and demanding the ball over and over and over again. We have to find a different way for you to be impactful here, and it's not that. And it just doesn't seem like that's something that he feels is his responsibility.
Right, and maybe it's something that he's battling inside because he knows that's the direction Denver has to go. I mean, what the Nuggets are rolling out there offensively against the Timberwolves, which really feels like their normal game plan, like how the Nuggets run offense, Jokic, Murray, 2-man game, and then go from there. That's not working. They scored 80 points last game.
Yeah.
Right? Like that their offense is clearly not working. And yeah, a big reason why is just Jamal Murray doesn't have it. And that's such a big component, to what the Nuggets do. And Jokic is, I don't know, maybe he's saying to himself, like, yes, like we have to just stick with what we do. That's who we are. That's how we got here. That's how we're going to go further,
which could be the case,
by playing Denver Nuggets basketball, and that is with Jamal Murray being Jamal Murray. But yeah, the other side of the coin is it's clearly not working. We scored 80 points last game. We have to switch some things up, and this goes back to what you were saying, Eric. Like the adjustments have to be, we can't have Jamal Murray taking on the regular Jamal Murray role, and I just wonder if Jokic is having this inner battle of, how do we do things the quote-unquote right way as we've been doing them, or do we, switch them up?
It's the whole everybody has a game plan to get hit in the mouth.
Yeah.
Nuggets have been hit in the mouth repeatedly, and it's like you can't now the game plan's out. What is your adjustment?
Right, down
given what you
0-2,
have?
it's probably got to be thrown out.
It's got to be thrown out, and now the only question is, it can be messy, it can be ugly, it can be anything. But what is the answer? What is the adjustment here? And I want to go to, when we talk about this Murray point, you brought up a very specific play that you think highlights this, because going away from Jamal is you can't do that. It's more, all right, where's the scale? How do we scale it? And you had one play.
What was the play?
Well, maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was somebody else that was sharing this one. But he gets trapped. No, he gets trapped on a play. and he swings the ball over. I can't even remember who it was.
We were talking about this at practice today with somebody else,
And so he gives the ball up and then immediately runs and demands the ball again, like claps and is like, give it back. He just got trapped, release valve, and then ran back like, well, now give it to me again. And it's like, hey, man, it can't be that. You just got trapped. Sometimes your job is to draw the trap out and trust your teammates behind you. But other times it's like you got yourself into that pickle. You can't go back and demand the ball again. Now there's 5 seconds on the clock and he got bottled up again. And it's like, that's not it, man. You gave up the ball. Trust the backside now to take advantage of that. And again, it's a small, specific moment, but it is indicative of the overarching, whether it's your fault or not, or to what degree it is, it doesn't matter. You clearly don't have the burst. And if you don't have it, then you have to find a different way to impact it. And it's a less dignified way, perhaps.
And we've been treading this way all playoffs.
Yeah.
No, the offense was not good during the Lakers series either.
Looked horrible.
Although Denver scored more than the 80 points they scored in game one because the Lakers just aren't very good. Now you ramp that up another round into the playoffs, going against the best defense in the NBA. You score 80 points.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to me, this feels like series of past with the Denver Nuggets where there's something that's clearly not working and the adjustment is not coming as quickly as you want it to. But then now they have time. Now they can think about it. And then Malone will have to make this adjustment. Like, this isn't just Jokic. They have to do a schematic, actual. Okay, we're going to use Jamal as more of a decoy just to take Nikola Alexander Walker away so he can't triple team Jokic. Like, we got to get guys away from it. We got to get Jokic free to be able to operate, and then we need guys to knock down shots. We're going to play an inside-out scheme. The thing is that, if we're counting on Jamal to be the catalyst and to start the offense every time, and he's unable to get around everyone, and the offense starts at 13 seconds every single time, and then you don't have the time to whip the ball around and try and break the defense. That's, they're doing switching. People are collapsing. And Jokic should, he should be able to completely pick that apart. That's like what he does. That's his other, it just needs to get to a point where the ball is just decidedly in Nikola Jokic's hand down at the block, I believe, to where he has the ability to either score every time or find the guy that's open when the third guy comes from the weak side, from the coming off the two. They have almost all of their guys are big enough to switch onto Jokic because we've seen it. We've seen Nikola Alexander Walker.
They shrink the court really well because how long they are. They're so enormous.
Suffocating. It has been suffocating, but Jokic has made a living off of this. It's just like waiting for you to bring your guy. And if you have two guys coming off, that's two guys that should be open, and then you just have to knock down your fucking shots. You have to knock down your shot, Michael Porter Jr.
So here's the thing, because there's a lot of the scary part for Denver is there's a lot of adjustments they need to make, but none of those adjustments happen until the existential parts change on this team.
Exactly.
And number one for me is belief. I'm so impressed with the Minnesota Timberwolves' belief. I believe it comes from Anthony Edwards first and foremost, just because I think that guy is a guy that's like, get behind me. I'm going into the battle, and everyone just sees his confidence and his swagger and everything else. And I think that this Nuggets team has lost belief. That's the scariest part of all of this, is they played game 2 like they did not believe. When things started going south, they played it like a team that did not believe they could stop it. And that's the scary part. Are they that team? That's what I want to see. It starts there, and then there's a million adjustments you're going to have to make to now counter the talent and the cohesiveness of the Wolves. But it starts with, do you believe? And if you do, Nikola Jokic, you go out there in the first quarter of this next game and you set a tone of aggressiveness, of toughness, of determination, and of confidence that everyone on that team will see and feel.
Yeah.
And they will feel it too. But if you don't, if you go out there and are, we're playing the 2-man, we're doing this or that, the team is going to sense that too, and then it falls on them in a way that I'm not sure they're... Great players put that on them and say, I will set the tone here, and I hope it happens from Jokic in game 2. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, practice. Very interesting practice today. Very interesting.
Very interesting. When we were looking up into the sky at that bald eagle, could have used some shady rays at that
looking
moment.
right past it. Dude, how bad do you feel for the Hawk in that story?
He was
just like an
letting
entry
us know.
point.
Letting us
Nobody
know,
even
man.
cares, dude.
Also, be
It's
nice if I had a nice Breck brew in my hand as well.
Oh, for sure. But that's like when somebody comes to the bar and they're like, Hey, Eric, where's Dev?
Breckenridge Brewery, they got a new West Coast style IPA. The Ridge Runner double dry hop brew inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails. It's a great beer for any occasion. Bright citrus and pine. You might taste those flavors. You can check out Breck Beer at pretty much any liquor store out there. If you don't know where to get Breck Brew, check out their beer locator. Just type in your zip code, shows you where to get Breck Brew. Breckenridge Brewery, the official craft beer DNVR. Of course, we have it here at the bar. If you come down, want to enjoy, you can try out some of our favorites, the Avalanche Amber, the Mile High City, the Fun Slinger, the Juice Drop IPA, Good Company Hard Seltzers as well. Check out their beer locator, breckbrew.com. Also, check out Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, so fun to play, so easy to play. It's the easiest to play, or easiest place to play, fantasy sports. They got their pick'em game. You can do basketball, hockey. You can mix and match across other favorite sports as well. You can win up to 100 times your money. It's a lot of fun as well. Underdog is available in 30 states, 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Not a state,
the
but
great
available
state of
there.
Canada.
Nuggets games, Avs game. You can play Underdog Fantasy with every sport. Sign up today with promo code DNVR. Get a first deposit offer as well as an instant pick'em special in your lobby. Some of those pick'ems are like Nikola Jokic over 0.5, more than 0.5 points.
Great, you hope that's an over.
Yeah, he should hit that. Use the code DNVR. You can scan the QR code on the screen as well. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ncpgambling.org.
All right, back here, segment 2. Denver Nuggets held practice today. They took yesterday off. By all accounts, it was a true day off. Like everybody get away from everything, which I think was probably needed.
Yes, needed.
They come into practice today. I'll give the first note, Harrison, and I'll toss it to you.
Yeah.
Michael Malone said that this was a real practice today. You know, sometimes in a playoffs, you come in and you walk through, you watch some tape and you walk through some stuff. He said it was a real practice where they actually did some stuff. I will say, nobody seemed to be sweating.
And Aaron Gordon was in a tracksuit.
He was in a tracksuit. Very strange.
Well, I mean, to me, they're going over scheme.
Yeah, I think it was mostly mental. But I'm just saying Malone represented it as if they were slapping the floor and doing slides.
Right.
And maybe they were, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah.
One other note real quickly as an aside. Vlatko Cancar doing a workout today. It was good to see.
Really?
Obviously not like for the series, but it was nice to just see him running
Pencil
around.
into the 9th spot in the rotation next
Can
year.
you imagine if he saved the day?
It'd be the greatest thing that ever happened.
I couldn't. But yes, Michael Malone said today was a great practice.
Hell yeah.
The spirit, the positivity, the energy was where it needed to be.
Love it.
He was asked what the belief level was. He said, do these guys believe? I don't know. They'll say they do, but we'll find out Friday in the first quarter.
It's a good
I think
point.
that's pretty appropriate. His message today.
Which is an important thing, by the way, because this is like, we're sitting here. Here's the thing. Even after the show, you still get some of the comment. I tried to do the delete the phone. Like, I'm not going to go in the messages. There's still people that would get around that by just trying to message this or that. Or hop into weird platforms that, like
Tinder.
Yeah, they had my Tinder profile. I had people blowing me up, and it was crazy.
On there.
But one of the things was people oh, you guys are being too over the top. It's funny because today was all the things we were saying, like Michael Malone talking about belief,
right?
And, this type of stuff. And it's and Michael Malone's line, "I don't know," to me is a very interesting one. It wasn't no. But it is one where even he is saying, I don't care what we did in practice. I don't care anything.
Right.
They showed me in game 2 they did not believe, and I'm not going to give it to them until they show me they do.
His guess is actually as good as ours.
As actually is.
He said today's message was, we haven't played close to our ability yet. Part of that is Minnesota. And game 2, this was a very pointed thing that Michael Malone said. He said, game 2, I was very disappointed with our reaction to the adversity. I haven't seen that in my 9 years here.
Dang.
Unprecedented.
And it was, man. Throwing shit onto the court. Michael Malone's reaction. He actually didn't have anything to say about his participation in how they handled the adversity.
It's actually very funny. So give the quote. Did you give it?
Yeah, he said with Jamal, I've never seen that from Jamal. That was uncharacteristic. He didn't have anything to say about how he handled it, though.
Yeah, he was like, he really melted down out there. Man, that's crazy. He was in refs' faces. He was screaming. He squared up on a guy.
He was like, "Oh, that's a fucking charge. You guys see that?"
I did. That is funny. I didn't even notice it, but Harrison pointed out. I was like, "You're right." Malone
hilarious.
also lost his shit.
Right.
And that
So did
actually
we,
is
frankly.
wasn't that the first thing to happen?
100. I actually hate to
Yes.
say that I actually think this is part of it. Michael Malone. I don't think Michael Malone was trying to get a tech, trying to get the
You
players.
don't
into
think
it.
he was trying to get a tech?
Well, I think he was trying to get a tech.
Okay.
Out of frustration, though. Not
Right.
out of like, I want the guys to see I have their
Right.
back.
Sure.
Because he
Sure.
does that sometimes, and you could tell. I thought that one was one where Malone raged.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he honestly blacked out
He
for a
lost
second.
control for a
He
second.
lost control.
Yeah.
And I think that the team lost control behind it, especially Jamal Murray. Like, Jamal Murray responded to that by doing this to the refs and like talking to the refs nonstop. And it's like, hey, man, stop. You got to focus here. You're going to lose by 40. And they did.
But I thought that was a really notable comment from Malone. I haven't seen that in my 9 years here. As things got tough, we fell apart and separated.
Yep.
Tough.
Interesting. On Jamal, like I said, Malone said, I've never seen that from Jamal. That was uncharacteristic. He said it was, frustration built up over a number of things. Taking a charge and it's not called, missing shots, being down 30. Malone said he didn't handle it the way he knew he needs to handle it. And they've also been working on some things today at practice on how we can be better offensively with Jamal.
Well, and specifically alleviating the pressure, right? And
Yeah.
something of like, I'm not going to tell you what those things are, but like we have worked on some counters.
That was so Darvingham of him.
It really was. I didn't like it.
Yeah. The belief, though, to get back on that, coming back from down 2-0, Michael Malone came in with this stat today. 33 teams have come back from 0-2 in a playoff series. 5 or 6 have come back from 0-2 after losing their first 2 games at home.
I think that's better odds than down 3-1, actually. I think it's
Is
actually
it?
better statistic. Well,
Maybe.
the 5 or 6. 'Cause I think down 3-1's only happened like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? Reggie Jackson is actually a part of one of those with the Clippers.
Oh yeah.
Lost 2 games at home, won the series.
The Clippers actually did that in 2 straight seasons, actually. Dropped the first 2 games of a series, then won the series.
Nuggets just got to pull a Clippers. Oh, that didn't feel good.
That didn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
But listen, man. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, why not the defending champs?
Right. And then Michael Malone said, look, our sole focus is winning game 3. We were down 3-1 in the bubble twice. Our mentality in those moments where we just have to win the next game. Win game 3, win game 4, all the way to game 7 potentially. All year long, we were a great first quarter team. For some reason, we're not right now. It still feels like nobody knows the answer to that. I mean, I can't blame them. We don't either. But that's still a mystery they're trying to figure out why they cannot get off to a good start. And then, the other message from him, stop looking to the refs. We got to understand the physicality that this series is being played with, and we have to set the tone. We have to be the ones who punch first.
So I would describe Malone today. Malone is so good at this. I think it's his best skill. Messaging is his best skill. And I thought his messaging was very good today. I thought his tone and his presence and stuff matched it. It was more relaxed than you would think. Like, it wasn't panic. I think there's a real sense of we can't be panicked in this moment. They looked panicked in game 2. So I think he had to exude a level of confidence and calmness, and he did a good job of that. The messaging was good.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that his overarching message to the media was, who knows how we'll respond? And that's an unsettling thing, because I don't think we've ever felt who knows with the Nuggets. We've always felt, I know they will.
Right.
And the messaging in this one, because of how bad game 2 was, I think you can't say we know we'll respond. I think you have to say, now it's on us to find out who we really are.
Well, right, because they got punched in the mouth in the first game, and they responded with the worst effort we've ever seen. So now it's not just well, we know who we are, and what we do works, and we just need to play better. Like, that's clearly not where we are. So they have to respond. And yeah, you're right. It's not just schematic, but I think a lot of it is. But it is.
I don't think a lot of it is.
Really? To me, it's like I just, as I think, I mean, you've watched, I've not watched a second of this. I don't know if you rewatched
I did not
this.
rewatch this game.
To my recollection, the way that the series has gone to this point is that, Jokic has attempted to get somewhat assertive early. He's dribbled to the basket and had the ball stripped away almost every time. And then he's been blocked. And again, he's been literally triple teamed, which is insane. And they haven't really been able to take advantage of it. To me, it's like you just have to they have to get into their offense faster. To me, it's like those kind of schematic things. But
I
a
think
lot
they
of it
know
is,
that though. Like,
I think so, but they didn't adjust. I think that they just kept thinking that the way that they do things would work. And I mean, again, like, listen, I am no master tactician. However, it specifically with basketball, but to my eye, like everything that they attempt to do and have attempted to do and have lived on and made a living off of and won a championship off of is directly countered by the way that the Wolves are attacking them. So it just is another thing where you're like, all right, we got to make a change. But the larger point was it's not just the schematics, it's the internal fortitude, the belief.
right.
We also spoke with Jamal Murray at practice today. And, of course, he was asked about, Game 2, throwing stuff on the court, the $100,000 fine that got handed down. I believe we have video, too, of Jamal's
Yeah, I'd rather play it so you can read for yourself.
answers to those first couple questions.
Jamal, did you expect any punishment from the league office? Was it fair?
No, I mean, it is what it is, and I take everything full responsibility, so on to the next.
Was it just that your frustration boiled over? Is that what happened?
Yeah, on to the next. I mean, not much. 2 days ago, not much for me to say about it.
Were there any conversations that you had with league people or anything just to kind of like apologize or whatever, maybe take responsibility?
Do you have any basketball questions?
Do you have any basketball questions?
It's like, what did he expect the questions to be about?
Here's my thing with it, because I saw, like, I know...
He ducked out on the media after the game when those questions would have been asked.
I mean, 100%. 100%. Here's the thing, man. The players, to me, why this is important. Accountability and owning it is, like, foundational to overcoming it in sports. I really believe that.
Foundational to life.
Foundational to life. But I'm saying specifically in sports, there is a thing of, are you able to say that you, like, how much are you able to, criticism of yourself are you able to accept? Because that's the direct proportion to how much you're able to grow. The more of yourself you're able to look at and say, wow, that's ugly,
right,
the more you can, like, address them. So ducking out and then saying that was 2 days ago, I'm not looking back. It's like, well, you didn't look back when it happened, so now you have to answer about it. And then to say basketball questions only, again, to me, it highlights a lack of accountability, which to me is a part of what's going on with this Nuggets team. It's why he's taking so many shots. It's why he's doing all this stuff. Who's there to tell him, like, no, man,
Right.
you have to own it? And I know he says, like, I owned, what does he say? I take full responsibility, but on to the next one. It is what it is. To me, those are contradictory statements almost. Like, quick. No, my bad. Let's move on. Just own it, man. Look, it was uncharacteristic. It hurt my team. I let them down, and it's not going to happen again. That's just different. And to me, the way he responded to that was just very discouraging. Honestly,
but he
just very
obviously,
discouraging.
maybe he doesn't feel like he let his team down. Like, maybe he just feels like he was reacting to bad calls that went against him, and he doesn't regret it.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's embarrassed, and he.
I think he's
doesn't wanna-
embarrassed.
Yeah,
Probably.
I just like I have a couple thoughts, and I don't. Maybe some people thought this was credible, some other people dismissed it. Like, I kind of think he probably didn't talk to the media after the game because he was advised not to legally, because he had to. You have the players' union that's going to be fighting for him to not get suspended, and if he says something in the media afterwards that they can't argue. I mean, I'm just completely speculating. That could he's shown us many times he has no problem not owning up to things after it happens. I thought it was like particularly dubious that he didn't on this occasion, but I'm wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt, because in the end he did not get suspended when many people thought he would, and I imagine the
think
players,
the league just is like could not afford that.
it's possible.
I mean, $100,000 is a big fine.
It is.
Like, we just think of other people's money as whatever because these guys are rich, but that's actually not a normal
I agree.
fine. That's an exceptional fine.
I agree, but there's like there's a lot of stakeholders in Jamal Murray, New Balance, the players union itself. A lot of people are like,
And I think that's why he got the fine and not the
that's what I
suspension.
mean. But
Honestly.
that's what I mean. And like, but if you go out and you say something the wrong way to where they can't argue it away, because people are arguing on his behalf, they're petitioning the league as to whether or not he's going to get suspended or not. So anyway, I'm like, all right, so that could be the reason for that. This, then you see him being standoffish is, I agree with you, very disheartening because it feels as though somebody who is caught but not sorry. They're like, yeah, I'm sorry, my mistake, whatever. Like, why are we talking about this? I mean, in a lot of ways, it is a non-point, but it just, what everybody wants from Jamal Murray at this moment is like, bro, just say you fucked up and like, let's move forward, but like, let's not pretend it's nothing.
There's a defensiveness that it comes with it, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is I know this sounds crazy, and we're spending a lot of time on it, but I honestly think one of the things going on with this team right now is that they need Murray to be this special player that he is not most of the time, but he is every time it's needed, and he's not this time. And for that, there's a level of accountability of like, I am letting guys down. I did fall down. And there's that, to me, that's the first step of moving on to the next one. So I don't want to overanalyze it, but there's a part of me that I feel more discouraged by really the whole presser, but by that part specifically than I did prior, just because I was like, hey man, there's a way to go out there and say like, you know what? No one's going to see an effort bigger than the one we have in Game 3. Like we've looked in the mirror. We've looked in the mirror and like have assessed, and we came up short. But that's not who we are. Instead, it was that's in the past. We're moving on. I'm not talking about it. And it's like, not exactly a rallying cry for the troops to rally under.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. On to the next. So.
it's almost like it's just basketball. It's just like we clowned LeBron for this, right? We clowned LeBron
when that's
for
actually everybody in the league's mentality.
Exactly. We clowned him for not like getting his guys or whatever, inspired behind it. It's like it's just basketball,
guys.
It's
just like at this point, down 0-2, we're looking for some leadership from the Nuggets.
This is the broader point.
Like Michael Malone has his voice that is always going to be there. That's a constant. We're looking for leadership from Nikola Jokic. We're looking for leadership from Jamal Murray. We haven't seen it so far in the series.
Nope.
That's something that's very present on our minds right now.
And they obviously have done this in other moments, but this is a different moment. And can the Nuggets show that type of leadership in this moment? We'll find out. They got a couple days.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to the Nuggets. On the other side, though.
Oh, stay tuned.
You didn't have anything for Christian Brown, did you? It just says physicality.
Yeah.
Okay, I just assumed that meant you didn't have anything. Not always the greatest quote. We can move on. On the other side, the big question. So is it all over? Or could they win the series? And if so, how? I have a blueprint, guys. I have a 7-step plan how to get this series to be
see a bald eagle.
Win.
Yeah, that's number one. See a hawk.
We already
step two.
See a bald eagle. Hear a hawk. See a bald eagle.
Okay. Circle K. Check out the Inner Circle Rewards program. Scan the QR code there on the screen. Go to circlek.com/inner-circle. First off, you get cheaper gas. It's a great program to be a part of. Your first 5 fill-ups of gas are 25 cents off a gallon, and then you keep getting money off. Every time I go to Circle K, I get like 0.03 cents or whatever it is off per gallon. Not a lot, but it makes a difference.
Yep.
And it's free to sign up, free to use. You just type in your phone number there at the kiosk every time. Super easy. So use that QR code. Go to circlek.com/inner-circle. Enter your email and phone number. Then boom, you're set up. First 5 fill-ups of gas are 25 cents off a gallon. First 5 Polar Pops are free. Every 6th free on several items like pizza, stuff on their roller grill, so much more. Sign up with that QR code there on the screen. Go to circlek.com/inner-circle for more information on how to become a Inner Circle member. Also check out Circa Resorts and Casino. That's where we stay when we go to Vegas. Summer League coming up quick.
2 months. Dude, Kale pointed this out. 2 months away.
2 months from Summer League. We'll be there.
Doesn't it feel like it's like 7 months away? It feels very far away. It's 2 months.
We will be there.
We still smelled like champagne at Summer League.
Oh man, it was so great.
I don't want to stay anywhere else in Vegas other than Circa.
Great news.
Adults only casino. What do you guys think about that other hotel?
No way, man.
It's Vegas's first ever adults only casino, the world's largest sports book. Stadium swim as well. Best place to watch a game.
Dude, I grinded too hard last year at Summer League. Out trying to do these little meetings, being a little social butterfly. This time, only the plunge.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Getting sun.
Yeah.
It's a good mentality.
Barely going to do the show.
I'm going to do the same thing.
I know.
You know what? Let's phone in Summer League to this year, guys. We in? Everybody in?
Totally. Because then you're like, oh, we got to meet all these people. And you're like, these bunch of blogger nerds.
Yeah.
Hell.
I don't need to hang out with these blog boys. Experience stadium swim and watch your favorite teams at Circa Resort and Casino. Book your stay with code DNVR20, 20% off. That's a pretty big discount when you're setting up a Vegas trip.
Listen, man, think about the money you've already saved from Phillips at Circle K. Apply that plus. I mean, what are you doing? You're losing money.
DNVR 20% off your stay.
All right, we are back here, segment 3, DNVR Nuggets Podcast. And now the question becomes, let's throw away game 2.
Get
right?
the hell
On
out
to
of
the
here.
next one. Wise man once said.
Yeah, dude.
On to the next one. So now, can you get back into the series? D-Line, your hope springs eternal
Yes.
in your mind?
Yes, of course you can. Of course you can. It is absurd to write the Nuggets off. Does it look good at this moment? No, it does not.
Not like nothing looks good. It's like literally starting from zero.
Looks good. We have nothing to go off of that would give us any form of optimism. We have nothing to look to. The Nuggets have shown us nothing that would make us feel any kind of way about being able to come back, except they've shown us all of this before. Every series is different. Every opponent is different. Every challenge is different. But the Nuggets are not that different from the team that won 11 seconds before the draft in Summer League last year. They are the team that we know that they are. Nikola Jokic is the guy that we know him to be. They have it, man. And they're just, sometimes you just get beat. Sometimes you just get punched in the mouth, man. You really just you're talking about high-level athletes, obviously. You're talking about a Minnesota team that is fully intact this year, that last year missing 2 key players, Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels, that make a very big difference when they're back. And they were already our most difficult challenge last year, even though we beat them 4-1. Not the story of the series. All that said is that the Nuggets have things that other teams do not have. They have the continuity, and they just need to pair that with the belief, and then also with the schematic changes that Michael Malone never does until it's one game later than you want him to. But to this point in his tenure, he always makes the right decision, just a little later than you want. But there's still time in this series, man, and I just believe that the Nuggets have the horsepower to go 1-for-1 with what Minnesota has out there. And at the end of the day, the Nuggets have more. They do.
Yeah. A lot of people have been throwing out adjustments, like should they make a starting lineup change? I don't think so. I don't think that's the direction they're going. I just don't think with this starting lineup you change that up. I don't think that makes sense. It starts with Nikola Jokic. If you have belief, it's because you believe in Nikola Jokic. And you should believe in Nikola Jokic. He's the best player in the world. He's going to win his 3rd MVP in 4 seasons tonight, which is just a hilarious and awkward wrench that's thrown into the middle of this series. But if he comes out with a purpose and with an aggressive mindset in Game 3 at the start of Game 3, things can flip. Things can begin to percolate. The momentum can begin to swing. But it starts with him, man. I mean, if he comes out and leads this team to a good first quarter, which he's perfectly capable of, which he can do in this matchup, like that's what needs to happen for things to start to change. And it can happen.
The cool thing about being in a spot like this is to be a legend, you have to do legendary things. And unfortunately, the Nuggets are in a spot right now, as they have been before, twice coming back from 3-1. They're in a spot where they have to do something legendary. The question is, do they have it in them still? We asked this the other day. We knew that they had it in them at one point. Do they have it in them still? Here's the thing. You really just have to win Game 3. And Michael Malone is smart on this. It's just one game at a time. You can't look at this and get overwhelmed. You have to win Game 3. Because let's put it out there, first of all, if you win Game 3, let's not even talk about how just yet. But if you win Game 3, it's 2-1. You just won 2 games on the road. and then you lost one at home, so you lost momentum. Right now, the Wolves have no doubt in their mind that they are the better team. Rightfully so. They've earned that confidence. But if you beat them once, it at least slows the momentum. It slows that confidence down to like, well, okay, guys, we've got to, dot our I's and cross our T's. This is a hungry team. We have to match the desperation. But then you go into a game 4 and you think, in some ways, it becomes a must-win for the home team because now you can't lose game 4 and now it's even and you've just lost whatever goodwill you built in games 1 and 2. So to me, it really is game 3 is an opportunity. As much as it is a desperate opportunity, it is also an opportunity to shift some of the pressure back onto Minnesota. And to me, there's 3 things that can happen in this game. Like, not only do you have to win, I think there's 3 ways you have to win. One of these 3 ways. Number 1, Murray overcomes Minnesota defense to such a degree that it re-inspires the team. I think part of why everyone is down so bad right now, don't forget the 26-point loss or whatever. Forget it. I think it is that Murray has not played well. It's been 7 games and he hasn't played.
That's where everything's starting
So
from.
if I say that the Nuggets, like if I were to tell you right now, D-Line, Murray is going to play like he did in the finals from here on out.
Yep.
Every game, your perspective would change.
I would say the Nuggets win the series.
Oh,
honestly.
that's
you would take the Nuggets to win the series
easily.
Yeah. Because it changes everything.
Everything.
All of a sudden, the Nuggets are the Nuggets.
If you said you had bubble Murray / 2023 Murray for here on out. So, number 1, Murray has a great game. He just comes out and has one of those back against the wall games and scores 30 points, overcomes it, makes the right play, and you go like, there it is. There's the swagger the team needs, and the team can roll behind it. That's the best way that it could go, in my opinion. Number 2, Jokic dominates and gives the team confidence. So Murray's game, maybe it scales down. Maybe he has an okay game. Maybe he has a bad game. But Jokic says, everyone get behind me. I'm going to win game 3 by myself. I don't know if I can win 4 games, but one game I'm going to go out there and lay it all on the line. I'm going to take 26 shots. I'm going to score 40 points. And no matter what, I'm just going to do everything it takes. By the way, the defensive end, Jokic has not been putting in effort defensively in this series. He's been terrible. He's been horrible. He's been getting... it's the unspoken part of all of this. His defense has not been up to snuff. But maybe he brings it in a way that inspires and shows that he should be the guy we all believe him to be. Like, okay, there it is. And now you break a little confidence because one of the things that we always say, the team with the best player in a series usually wins. Jokic's not been the best player in the series. Full stop. So if you are that in game 3 to the degree that is why you won, is like, why did Denver win game 3? Well, they had the best player in the game and he won him a game. It changes things in a way that's like, all right, we have to stop Jokic. Now our attention, we have to shift focus or this or that. Number 3, the Nuggets do something collectively that makes the Wolves uncomfortable. This is more what you're talking about. Schematically, rotation-wise, it's not that any one guy plays well, but it's like there's a new wrinkle that is entered. In Game 2, the Wolves did this. It was pressure. Yep. The Wolves were without Rudy Gobert, and maybe they stumbled into this on accident. Maybe it was always their plan. But they said, you know what? We're going to risk giving up easy baskets at the hope that we can generate turnovers.
We're going to bank on them not being able to handle our pressure.
And it was such a great bet. They hit it.
Yep.
They hit the jackpot on that bet. But if Denver has a similar counter or a similar thing that they do, and all of a sudden, it could be Michael Porter at the 4. It could be more staggered lineups. It could be playing somebody that hasn't played yet, a defensive scheme or what have you. They do something that the Wolves go, well, that really disrupts what we were hoping because we were comfortable winning this way. Those are the 3 things Denver can do in Game 3 that, again, would still make them underdogs in the series, but at least would make it so that the pressure is on the Wolves at least equally going into Game 4, to where both teams felt like Game 4 was a must-win.
In terms of confidence in those 3 things happening, I think number 2 I'm most confident in. Jokic winning it.
Yeah.
But none of these am I supremely confident in.
I'd say second might be the adjustment. Third, Jamal
The
Murray.
whole team. Like Aaron Gordon makes an impact.
Yeah.
He has not made an impact yet in the series. Michael
Third
Porter
would be Murray having just a monster game.
Yeah. The nice thing that we have working in our favor is the time off between each one of these games is such that it is not unthinkable that Murray's calf could get into a better spot with the amount of therapy and things.
I'll say this. Michael Malone talked about this today, and he said, as far as I'm concerned, he's not injured. He's like, everybody's injured. I honestly liken Murray's injury to Jokic's wrist last year.
Yeah.
And that it was clearly a factor. But also, we're not going to sit here and talk about it.
And I'll talk about it just for a second. Murray was putting in extra work at practice today. He was actually working on his floaters over Jay Huff Your boy.
My boy.
Yeah, he was doing his best Gobert impression.
The American Gobert.
Yeah.
Many are saying. The American Gobert. We're sorry,
People in the
JF.
G League say that.
Yeah, like...
Grand Rapids Gobert.
Oh, my God. I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway, no, I just, there are any number of ways that this happens. Like... one great thing about Jokic is that he uses just the right amount of energy. One terrible thing about Jokic is that, I think he just saw, we don't have the right approach. We're not going to win this game. And he allowed him. He's like, I'm not going to, whatever. I'm not going to give it all
He's not
up.
great at grinding to or lost cause. He's not the guy that's going to lead the...
No. We're not going off the cliff. He's like, you got, all right, we're not going to win this one. I'm going to save it. I'll come out next time or whatever. So I don't know. Are we going to talk about the fact that Gilbert Arenas said that he got a text message?
You can talk about it if you want.
Gilbert Arenas,
noted and reputable
source and absolute super fan of every European player. Just
loves the international
game, feels that it's the world's game and that there's lots of ways and it's open to everybody. Has gate kept nothing. Also, not a felon. Kind of a felon.
Wait, really?
Well, I don't know. He brought a gun into a locker room. Not good. Anyway, he revealed on some sort of show or something that he has a source, one of the Nuggets players that texted him and said that Jokic wants to go home after 2 games, that he's done. Which I was like, I bet that Gilbert Arenas and Reggie Jackson played at some point together. I was thinking about that. But also,
I don't think they did.
Also, I was like,
I don't think that's him.
They didn't.
Whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. But then I was like, how easy that would be to just say for a guy that you honestly are trying to deride all the time. And
that's why I don't really think it matters.
The specific source.
Is it believable though? This is the thing that sucks.
The thing is that it's not believable.
This is why Game 3 is important, honestly, for me, even with Jokic, man. I've anointed him as a guy that I believe is a top 10 player of all time, and there's you can do anything, but even there's something romantic and important in sports about people that believe they can do the impossible. Yes. Anthony Edwards believes he can do the impossible. He really does. And there's something awesome about it that everybody that's around him kind of believes he can do the impossible too. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just think it's possible. And I think LeBron even had a little bit of this. They're so logical, and they set the table so much that they can see 6 plays down the line, and sometimes they're like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. And it's like, yeah, I don't care, man. Just make it work that way. Make the world what you want it to be. And we hope that Jokic comes out with that mentality because he's great enough to inspire the confidence in others and inspire the discipline and inspire all those things. And if he comes out and does it, it would be, even in a losing effort, it would be inspiring. It would be a thing that you're like, damn it, maybe it wasn't our year, but it's our guy, and we'll go to war with that guy 100 times out of 100.
Also, my other feeling on it is that if that was something that they were reading, this, let's say that this is true, this text message is true, somebody on the bench really got this from Jokic. I wanted to leave after game 2. I was like, I'm not going to do the podcast anymore. I wasted my time. I've wasted my life. And, a couple days off, images of Jokic smiling at practice.
Maybe an MVP ceremony.
I'm sure he's going to be smiling through that too.
Yeah, Jokic is going to be receiving some hardware tonight, I would imagine. And there are things that can kind of reset your perspective. So whatever. I
will say this: it'd be very cool if you were one of the few teams in NBA history to come back from 3-1. The only team to come back from 3-1 2 times in one playoff series, and the only team to come back from, or one of the only teams to ever come back from 0-2 after losing games on your home court. That would be a thing that would actually make you even more legendary.
Absolutely. And listen, man, it is completely on the table. I'm not.
That's how they would be known. Yes. It actually would be the number one line. Forget the championships, forget everything else. It'd be like, man, that team never quit.
That is a resilient squad, yes.
I think we could definitely say they're resilient.
At that point.
If they do this.
All right. Also, Reggie Jackson, bail out, does it again. Be great. Come on, Reggie. Be great, man.
Let's take a break. He'll really stick it to Gilbert.
Take a break. Last segment will be a short one. I just want to talk about a theme I see in the NBA this year in the playoffs. The playoffs are not going how people predicted. Very interesting.
Illegal Pete's. This episode brought to you by Illegal Pete's, Colorado Springs. You've got Illegal Pete's. You got a friend in the burrito business.
Welcome
right
to the
by
club.
You. Welcome to the club. Downtown in the heart of Colorado Springs. That's where Illegal Pete's is located, but they're all over the state as well. We got one right down the street from us here on Colfax. We're there all the time. Burritos, quesadillas, tacos, nachos, margaritas, beer, whatever you want. Illegal Pete's has it. Your spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
I can go for some of those buddies, man.
Infinity Park. Check it out. Glendale, Colorado. If you're looking for something to do with the fam, the American Raptors play there. They play rugby there. And you can check them out. They're Colorado's professional rugby team. You can catch their games on ESPN+. You can check out the DNVR Rugby Podcast as well. Available wherever you get your podcasts from. The American Raptors, they are set to return to South America, actually. Little American Raptors update here. For their last 3 matches of the Super Rugby America's regular season.
Holy smokes.
Watch them on ESPN+. May 11th through May 25th. AmericanRaptors.com.
They rule, man. All right, back here, final segment. Quick question, and you guys can be honest. There's no wrong answer here.
I bet I can find one.
Have you been watching the NBA playoffs outside of the Nuggets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
Western Conference.
Not all of it.
Familiar with it.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
I think there are 3 teams that have really impressed me, and not like I know Laking Ball is going to be in the chat. The Celtics look good. They haven't played anybody yet. Well, the Celtics tests are ahead, but there are some teams right now that when we talk about Denver last year, they get through the Minnesota series. We're like, they're good. We think they have it. Whatever. It wasn't until game 1 of the next series that we believed like they're starting to get the magic. This team has something special. There's 3 teams that fit that bill right now, and I found it very interesting. Minnesota Timberwolves unquestionably have found the magic. The New York Knicks have found the magic. They're winning these games that they're not supposed to win.
Yep.
You want to talk about puncher's chance? Nobody tell Josh Hart the odds. Nobody tell Jalen Brunson the odds. That team is playing like, I don't care if it's 1,000,000 to 1. They're going to go out there and fight. They will run off the cliff, as you say. That team has a magic and a belief of like, whatever it takes to win this game. If I have to cut off my left arm to get through this game, I will do it. And it's awesome to watch a team that gritty. And then the Thunder, the OKC Thunder, who, again, I didn't think the Pels were a great test for them in round 1. They disposed of them very, very quickly and definitively. But you go into this Dallas matchup, and it's like, okay, now's the real test. That game last night, for a young team, they were tough, they were confident, they were aggressive, and they play together. Those traits, man, for such a young team, to see it from 3 different teams, all of whom I said young on the timeline the other day. What I really mean is new. Like all the teams that have been, the Celtics have been there already. You know, some teams have been there. Those teams haven't been in this spot before. For them to all be playing with that confidence, aggressiveness, and toughness, you watch it and you go, man, that's cool. That's the trait, man. I kind of feel the NBA is turning a new leaf. The new generation is coming in, and they're bringing a new characteristic that wasn't always part of the NBA. Toughness is back on the menu, boys.
They have the toughness, and those teams, man, they have the magic, the mojo. They have the special sauce that the Nuggets had last year.
Yeah.
And that's what's been so crushing about this Minnesota series so far. The Nuggets so far don't, but those teams do. They have what the Nuggets had. And they have a togetherness. They have a connectivity. They have the culture that we've been talking about the Nuggets building over the last several years. Andrew Schlecht, who covers the Thunder.
Awesome dude.
Buddy of ours. He tweeted out a video of them. It might have been, how the Thunder do this post-game interview with their local sideline guy, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. But he sent out this tweet last night that said, "We're in the good old days right now." Yeah. And it just reminded me so much of something we would have said, last year at this time.
Last week, yeah.
Or even last week.
It's so true.
Man, like those teams have that magic, that unquantifiable thing that the Nuggets had.
Yeah.
And they can still get it back, but they definitely had.
No, it's true. And for the Thunder, it's just what a pro wants. You know what I mean? It's what a pro needs.
The Thunder really are like an awesome, inspiring story, and the worst.
The absolute worst.
Absolute worst of all time. in your face nonstop. You
we
can't
were
get away
talking
from
about
it.
like Chet Holmgren was a guy that I was like, I think I'm claiming him as my guy. I hate him.
Did you see his fit the other day?
Well, we'll see if you get him in the My Guys draft. We'll see.
No way, you can't take Chet Holmgren. Come on, you want to take Wemby too?
We were on this set, and you said no. He was with me. He thought Chet was good. You thought Chet was going to suck.
I thought Chet Holmgren was going to suck.
Yeah, you were out on him.
Always loved Chet.
We got to bring
it up. Go find the tape. I've always liked Chet.
It was me and Harrison were the Chet believers.
No way. I've always liked Chet. Also, Chet, I'm telling you, because he's kind of like from the stick. You see his outfit the other day? Basketball shorts and a collared shirt. Do you have it,
Did you see
Kale?
the Pacers outfit?
That is not what a pro wants.
The Pacers have the worst style in the league.
They really do. Actually, oh man, Halliburton is
Did you see that
hilarious.
video of them walking out of the hotel?
So aggressive, some of these outfits. The basketball shorts with a collared shirt, though, was like a full snap. It was such a hilarious outfit.
That's like what you answer the door in to get your DoorDash.
Somebody asked the other day if I've watched Trailer Park Boys. I love Trailer Park Boys. I actually find it to be like a genius show. I haven't seen every episode, but whenever I see it, it reminded me of somebody in that show.
Yeah.
You know, where you just happen to have two items of clothing. Do they go together? Absolutely not. But whatever. It's my outfit today. But I love this new era of players. Like, this is the thing is I kind of like Minnesota. It sucks. But watching them do it the right way, I'm just like, yeah, that's what it takes. They have it. And it's cool to see a team that has it. I want the Nuggets to have that. They've had it for a majority of this era. They seem to have lost it in this last week. But I like that toughness is on the menu and that the teams that are most mentally and physically tough are winning right now. I think that's a good thing.
It is. It truly is because, we're exiting the grifting era, hopefully, and into the toughness era. And there seems to be a switch in the way that, especially in the playoffs, the officiating is following suit. That was the craziest. I'm not talking about officiating as in it cost or helped or that. That was the craziest game officiating-wise I've seen in the longest time. Like the amount of physicality that was allowed on Jamal Murray was astounding. There were so many things where you're like, oh my God, like they're literally like, it's not that they are swallowing their whistles. Like they didn't bring them. They don't have them. They're not available to blow. Which in a lot of ways you feel good about. You're like, okay, cool. Like this is a man's game. Let's go out. Blah, blah, blah. But then when you have players like Jamal that are a little bit more finesse based, you're like, my God, like this is insane that they're allowed to do this.
But he's traditionally been so mentally tough. That's why that game was so disappointing too, is because he was mentally weak in that game. And it's one game, bounce back now, Jamal in game 3. But it was so clear in the early parts of that game that game was going to be prison rules. And it was for Minnesota too.
Totally.
The difference was Minnesota licked their chops. They said, hell yeah, we're not calling fouls today.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
And Denver were like lost their mind for it. And again, I watched the Knicks play. That's a team that doesn't have excuses. They don't even have one. They have no excuse in the book. They've lost Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle now. You think they're making excuses? Absolutely not.
Yeah. They're just going to play their starters 48 minutes.
The Thunder can be a little corny, but that team just plays tough, man. You get in the fourth quarter of a close game last night to open the fourth quarter, 15-0 run. That team was so tough. And then obviously the Thunder just proved that they are a tough team. So I think that's on the menu. I think that it's a big part of what's going on in the NBA. And length, athleticism, physicality, defense, youth, all of those things have been winning so far in the playoffs. All right, let's get to some Super Chats and get out of here. Mile High Scene. Gilbert Arenas on his pod showed a text thread from afar that a Nuggets player saying after game 2, Joker called quits and packed his bags. Any truth to this? Again, we don't know if there's truth to it or not, guys. It's Gilbert Arenas. Like, listen to the source. But
I'll just say I believe it.
You believe it?
I believe it.
Here's the thing, man. Nothing would be more disappointing. It would change my relationship to Jokic. Like, it would change the way I think about him if he doesn't come out and fight in these last 2 games. Right. It would change the way I would think about him. And in a way that I could never go back. You could never go back to that.
Yeah.
You can do it for a game. Like, everybody has a bad game. But it's like, how did you go out? How did you handle overwhelming odds against you?
Yeah.
Some guys just keep going. Ben Gardner says, I'm still kind of stunned. I can't believe how different this team seems from statement week a few months ago. Thanks for the therapy sessions. We'll talk a lot about, there was statement week, and then what was the other one?
Narrative week
and statement week. Those weeks were great. Denver was healthy. Denver had it.
Did the Nuggets take those weeks too seriously because of us?
I think so.
Were they like, wait, shit, it's statement week. All right, Jamal, play 40 minutes.
We all got to look in the mirror, fellas. Robert George says, just like Murray struggling after dunking on Braun, let's shrug off the bad vibes from game 2. I'm actually excited to see how we respond. I have faith. There you go. Look, I'm excited too. Here's another thing about it. Forget the hope, forget win, forget this or that. Everything is a chance for you to reveal your true self.
Yep.
Like, this is a chance for that's why I said with Jokic, if he doesn't fight, I would be so disappointed. Even if you fight and lose, and he'll be my same old Jokic. Next year, let's do it again.
Everything is, like, every game in the playoffs is its own thing.
Yep.
You just need
100%.
you win, and then it just changes everything, and then it's just like, it's
100%.
all its own thing.
Volta, also, by the way, Minnesota has not lost yet in the playoffs. Like, how do they respond to a home loss? You know, like, there's all those layers to it. Volta DeMar says, just a year ago, the Clippers beat Dallas in 7 in a series where the road team won every game until game 7. Weird things happen sometimes. 100%, man.
100%.
Weird things happen in the playoff
100%.
series. Quick
100%.
flip.
100%.
Quickly, storylines change. It can change quick.
Cheap trick in the city. Cheap chick in the city. Black Mamba says, you know what? I am thinking 48 minutes of Joker. That would send a message. Denver fans deserve some criticism. Boo the F out of these angry pups.
100%.
Maverick 36 says, win or lose, we are still in the golden era, and the parade will be just as delicious every time. As Yoke has stated multiple times, the only team in the way is themselves. You know what? I would agree with this in this time. Look, I give the Timberwolves full credit. Wolves fans, quit whining. Get out of here. I give them full credit. But Denver right now has to beat themselves to be able to then try to beat the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Super Dope Hip Hop says, some Nuggets fans must stop blaming refs. It's corn and delusional.
Corny and
must
delusional.
not be suspended. Huge break. Murray not being suspended. Huge break, and for series Nuggets, 38-26 free throw attempts and 40-32 fouls advantage. 100%, man. Look, that game
100%.
was that game. Shut up. 100%.
No, it's true. We haven't. I just mentioned the refs, but we're not even counting that as a factor. It is not why the Nuggets are.
They didn't call fouls for them either, man. They just loved it.
Yep.
Denver for some reason hated it. What do we got? BA1008 says, something that hasn't been mentioned. Ever since Jokic's brother punched someone at ball, Nikola has shown no interest in playing. Are they allowed at game still? Anything come from that night? They have been at ball.
They were sitting in a suite.
They're in a suite now, so they might have been moved. Things like that, guys, are like, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, we have no idea. There could be something to that. There could be nothing to that.
Aki Kaki says, it's always darkest before the dawn in Cancun. We need to adjust with Inat injection. And another text message from Jokic.
Oh, boy.
That last part for, not all
Somebody
jokes
sent
aside.
Jokic a text message.
Jokic maybe needs to send the text message. The Lakers series looked like premature ejaculation, and Wolves series looks like erectile dysfunction. Well,
Man,
nobody frames it like Aki Kaki.
Aki Kaki really
Nobody
where
gets
his mind
Nobody
is.
gets basketball like Aki
Nobody.
Kaki.
Maverick 36 says, Arenas nationalism is lame and always thumbs up his game. Don't know.
He always loved his game.
Yeah.
Arenas.
I don't think he'd make receiving a text like that.
No, he could absolutely. The point.
I don't know what was in it, but I bet somebody texted him that.
I think he would.
What I believe it's true. I believe he definitely got a text message that said that, but I think he probably is looking for that angle, asking Joker probably wants to quit, right? Because he is xenophobic. And
he texted somebody and was like, "Man, that was bad." I was like, "Yeah, everybody seemed check out, even Joker."
He's like,
Joker's checked out, and wants to go play horse.
He's like, "Oh, haha! Can you believe these Europeans, man? They stop." Like Gilbert Arenas is a legitimately bad guy.
Sean Croissant says, cheers to hearing how Jokic is the worst 3-time MVP of all time. Shaking my head. No more MVPs for Joker, please. Oh, I think he's saying that.
Yeah.
Not we're saying that. He's saying that people are going to start saying that. Look, man,
This
comes
is a
with
big
the territory.
night for the haters.
Here, I will say this: Giannis won in 2021 and then lost in humiliating fashion. To me, I took the crown from him. Just as an analyst, I said, "Nope, it's Joker's now to wear." Yoke goes down, especially if it's in a sweep. Like, look, man, he'll be my GOAT, but I'm not going to sit here. I'll sit here and say, like, it's fair, man. So, I did the exact same thing when Giannis lost in round 1.
Couldn't agree more.
So it's fair. Jose, it's fair in that it's unfair, and it's just that's how it works. Jose says it's just about playing with pride and stop whining. 100%. That's step 1. It's not all about it, but it's certainly step 1.
Don't throw things. Don't whine. Just let's go.
The last one is
it's an insult.
RMK, but yeah.
Thank you, RMK, if you said something inappropriate. The producer don't want to show, which I appreciate. Hit that outro music. We went long today. Who would have guessed?
What? We never go long.
We got another show tomorrow. Yoke should be receiving his 3rd MVP tonight.
Oh, I read RMK's. Oh, yeah, this is a joke I would make. I mean, he just basically said, I'm going to be watching the game from my garage. If the unthinkable happens, I'm just going to close the door and roll up the windows. Nuggets till death do us part. That's exactly what I would say.
Figuratively, not literally.
Oh, me literally. I don't even have a garage.
Guys, Jokic set to win his 3rd MVP. We might have something to commemorate that. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, stay tuned. Yeah, there might be. Oh, do y'all think Malone got on Murray for the Heat pack? Of course.
I don't know. I'm telling you, this is the dynamic that I honestly observe. Is I feel like Malone is looking at this going, somebody needs to say something to Murray. It can't be me, and I just don't know if there's anybody there that is ready to
Can't say
like,
for certain that he did.
Yes, but so we expect, as we've been informed, that the MVP announcement will happen tonight at 5:30 our time.
It's coming up.
If what we all think is going to happen happens,
It's happening.
check in with the DNVR Nuggets
And
Twitter account, the DNVR Sports Twitter account, the
absolute banger.
check in at the
banger,
locker. There will be something that goes along with it.
Let's gotta manifest some good vibes over these next couple days, boys and girls. Hit that like button for us.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.